Welcome to Quill Sword Blogcast. You can't come to the peace table empty-handed. It amazes me how dumb young people can be, mostly because I realize I must have been a moron when I was their age. I always thought the brain grew in around age 25. Now I'm beginning to wonder if anyone under 40 has one. Yeah, cranky old lady is being unfair. But I keep seeing the same stupid thing and from my own side of the street. And usually we expect the inane from the left, but the Ukraine war seems to be a hold my beer moment for parts of the right. The latest bit of stupidity came from a reforming leftist and a Kasparian of the Young Turks, which I admit I saw on the liberal hive mind. Both Anna and liberal opposed support to Ukraine, which is fine. Everyone has a right to their opinion. But could we please not be irrational about it? Irrationality hasn't worked for the left, so how about we skip it? So, what was so crazy? Anna's answer to her cohort's support of Ukraine was a sharp, oh, why not have peace talks? Single stupidest thing ever. I get it, no one likes war, nor should they. But Russia and Ukraine did this already. Russia wants to keep all the territory it has taken. Ukraine wants all its territory back. That doesn't leave a lot of negotiating room. Even if it did, the U.S. and Russia have a treaty with Ukraine to ensure their sovereign territory. It's called the Budapest Agreement. Ukraine kept its part of that bargain. Neither Russia nor U.S. did in 2014 when Russia took Crimea. People complain about the bad things the U.S. has done, and rightly so. But compounding a wrong by repeating it is not an improvement. But Minsk! Yeah, no. Minsk is kind of dubious. Treaties are just glorified contracts, and contracts aren't valid if made under duress. Neither really are treaties. Basically, if you're signing because someone is twisting your arm, the law won't enforce the contract, nor does international law really recognize such treaties. I'm way oversimplifying the issues with the Minsk Accords, with both of them rather. But the only point I'll make is this, that they don't invalidate Budapest, nor do they justify Russia's invasion, so they don't actually matter. What's all this got to do with the peace talks being stupid? Peace talks aren't stupid, but both sides have to be really willing to negotiate in good faith. The stupid part is expecting parties that don't want a deal to sit down to peace talks. Ukraine is perfectly happy to stop shooting at Russians on one condition, that the Russians leave Ukrainian territory as defined in 2014, pre-first invasion. Russia is perfectly happy to stop shooting at Ukrainians, also on one condition, that the Ukrainians hand over the entirety of the illegally annexed territories. You're thinking, well, they could give up a little, aren't you? Did that ever work with the bully that took your lunch money? Doesn't work with nation states either. Russia could be talked into settling for the territory they occupy. Ukraine, by the way, would not agree, but only temporarily. Once rewarded for invading, well, they were already rewarded once with Crimea, remember? How'd that work out? Ukraine has nothing to gain by giving up territory and everything to lose. Today, the West is honoring the spirit of Budapest, but will they in 5 years if Russia invades again? Who knows? I might suspect so, but why would Ukraine risk it? Ukraine also has an incentive to stay away from the negotiations. They're grinding the Russians down. I know you keep hearing that the sanctions aren't working. Guess again. Sanctions are an economic siege, not a skirmish. Translation, they don't work fast, but they are devastating when they do work. Ask Cuba and Iran. Sanctions are actually best used against a combatant nation and not merely an opposing one. Basically, if a nation-state is at war, it doesn't need the extra strain sanctions can and will cause when a nation-state not at war is better able to bear that burden. Russia needs stuff it can't produce effectively at home. Russia can't buy that stuff. Russia needs capital to buy what it can. Russia can't make money like it did. The effect isn't immediate, but it is very, very profound. Not seeing so many "looky, we have Coke" videos out of Russia nowadays, are you? Iran and North Korea combined don't have the economic might that France alone can muster on Ukraine's behalf. China's sitting out the military part. Without China, the entire bloc of nation states, even if you threw in the rest of the BRICS, cannot begin to match what NATO is pumping into Ukraine. And remember, most of that aid really initially went to Eastern European allies to backfill all the Russian and Soviet stuff that they were shipping as fast as they could to Ukraine. Only now are we really looking at sending things like Abrams tanks and F-16 fighter jets. You know, our bright, shiny stuff. Still think Iran and North Korea can keep up? So, what's in it for Ukraine if to come to the negotiating table today? The only way to negotiate is to be ready to give something up. You cannot come empty-handed to the negotiating table. Why give up Crimea when they have a reasonable shot of retaking it? Why give up anything if they can just let Russia burn itself out? More to the point, if Ukraine loses 20% of its territory, they're done as a nation-state. Even if we rebuild them, and FYI, Russia should have to pay for that, they would only have one port to service their entire grain industry. They would lose most of their best agricultural land. They would also lose a major oil field. Oh yeah, and a very strategically important naval base. What would Ukraine gain? A few years of tense peace until Russia got strong enough to come and take the rest. But war bad. Damn straight war is bad. But sometimes it's the only way to a meaningful, lasting peace. Just ask the guys who fought World War II.